The common wisdom when it comes to marriage these days is if it's really unhappy, well, then you need to move on. You need to expand your horizons and perhaps leave that and find someone else. A conscious uncoupling, as we have heard certain famous people call it. Is that truly the best advice? Welcome to the Tomorrow's World Webcast. My name is Wallace Smith, and I have actually here an article from Intellectual Takeout. I like what they post every once in a while. It's a little bit interesting, not always accurate, but still a little interesting. And actually, it's reporting here on a study done by the Marriage Foundation. It's an article by Annie Helmquist from February 14, 2017. Here's the title: Study: Unhappy New Marriages Usually Turn into Happy Ones. Now, the title actually there summarizes things a little bit too succinctly. It was a study done in particular concerning new parents, that is, parents with young children where they've just had children. Let me go ahead and read from the article. It says, a new study from the Marriage Foundation suggests that unhappiness is not necessarily a sign that couples should split and move on to other experiences and partners. Instead, new parents who stick it out and weather the storm overwhelmingly report being in a happy marriage a decade later. That is the same marriage, not they report suddenly they found a new marriage that was happy. They actually quote from the report in the article. Here's the quote. Our analysis of data from 10,000 parents with newborn children in the Millennium Cohort Study finds that only 5% of new parents were initially unhappy with their relationship. Of this small minority, 30% split up within 10 years. But of those who stayed together, 2/3 reported that they were now happy, and only 7% still unhappy. This means that among all parents, just 1 in 400 start off unhappy, stay together, and are still unhappy 10 years later. I thought that was a very interesting finding. The author of the article adds her own little summary. She says, is it possible that the overemphasis on present happiness might actually be hindering our greater long-term fulfillment? Would many troubled couples actually find the happy marriage they are longing for if they were willing to weather the storm instead of simply jumping ship, as the study seems to imply? I would definitely concur with that. Now, we do know there are extreme and even dangerous circumstances in some marriages. It's a terrible world out there. There's even dangerous marriages for people where there's abuse going on and people at great risk. But just speaking as a general rule of thumb, a general application, you know, marriage is meant for life. It really is. The Bible gives very narrow reasons for divorce, whereas our world seems to focus on personal happiness. Should we divorce just because we are unhappy? Who understands human flourishing and how humans can flourish more than God Almighty, our Creator? Nobody does. Jesus Christ spoke in Matthew chapter 19 and verse 6 and says the same thing elsewhere concerning marriage. What God has joined together, let not man separate. Our society has lost sight of the fact that marriage is a divine institution. It is something not just that man came up with, but that God Himself came up with, our Creator who loves us and cares for us and has designed it to teach us spiritual lessons, but for our own flourishing as well, for human flourishing. We are dismantling all of that. We no longer see marriage as a divine institution, and the effects are being felt in our society. You really tear down marriage, you tear down family, and then you tear down civilization, because marriage and family are the building blocks of civilization. I'm glad there's a study like this encouraging people to reconsider just dropping a marriage that is unhappy and to consider sticking with it, to sticking it out, to looking to save something as opposed to discarding it like yesterday's news. Let me challenge you. If you want to change the world, consider changing your point of view on marriage. Thanks for watching. Please check out everything we have available at tomorrowsworld.org.